Prince Yenas, when the time comes to seek my help, please show a little more sincerity. Fang Jueyu left this ambiguous remark, then walked away with his glass in hand. The people around were left with puzzled expressions, thinking a conflict was about to erupt, but how did it end so inconsequentially? Seek your help, HMPH, Yenas snorted coldly. It seemed he didn't catch the underlying meaning in Fang Juyu's words, nor did he understand any of the exchange between him and the king of Saudi Arabia earlier. Given the circumstances, Princess Silit decided not to continue her conversation with Yenas. She quickly caught up with Fang Jueyu, apparently intrigued by his recent phone call. Fang Jueyu, did I just hear you speaking Saudi? Yeah, Fang Jueyu nodded. With little Yi around, Fang Jueyu wouldn't misspeak even in Namekian. You even speak Saudi, Silit said enviously. I thought you only knew how to goof around. So what was that phone call about? And you said Yenas would definitely come to seek your help. Did you do something? Oh, it's nothing major. I just asked the king of Saudi Arabia to double the oil price when selling to the Salot kingdom from now on. Fang Jueyu said casually, unaware of how such a statement could affect those who heard it. Are you kidding? Silit knew Fang Jueyu had deep connections, which was evident from her grandmother Queen Yishar's attitude, but dealings in state oil exports weren't simple trade issues. How could he make the king of Saudi Arabia obey with just a few words? Whether I'm kidding or not, you'll know in a few days. Fang Jueyu smiled. I'm not someone to leave quietly after suffering a loss. Almost simultaneously, in the kingdom of Saluyok, Minister of Energy Ludwig suddenly received a call from Saudi Arabia. The time zones between the two countries were different, with Saudi Arabia being several hours behind, so it must have been urgent to call at this hour. Hello, this is Ludwig. Ludwig took the phone from his assistant. Minister Ludwig, here's the situation. I wanted to notify you that starting today, the price of oil we export to the Salot kingdom will be doubled. What? Ludwig, who was feeling a bit sleepy, suddenly became alert when he heard this message. The Salot kingdom imports half of its oil from Saudi Arabia, amounting to a substantial sum. Doubling the cost would visibly burden both the Ministry of Energy and the entire nation. Why? Is there a problem with the oil wells? Recently, there hadn't been any major international developments, so Ludwig thought perhaps an issue in oil production had increased costs, prompting the price hike. Such incidents had occurred before, but the increase had never been as extreme as 100%. The king only told me one thing. Ask a prince named Yenas for the details. I don't know anything else, added the Saudi representative. Of course, you are free to reject the price, in which case you'll need to find new import channels. Ludwig hung up the phone with a stunned expression. Prince Yenas, could he have offended some Saudi noble? He thought for a long time but could only come up with this explanation. He immediately dialed the president's phone number, realizing the significance of this news needed presidential attention. Mr. Fang, you're back. Hilton was chatting with a few other wealthy individuals when he saw Fang Jueyu approaching. I thought you were going to have a delightful night with Princess Silit. The earlier conflict had been brief and discreet, so Hilton hadn't noticed. What's delightful, really? It was almost ruined, Fang Jueyu grumbled. Oh, could someone have been foolish enough to upset Mr. Fang? Though unaware of the details and the person involved, Hilton knew there were only a few at this event capable of offending Fang Jueyu, and surely he wouldn't be the unlucky one. Come on, let's not let those unpleasant events spoil our fun tonight. Let me introduce you to a few friends, Hilton said, a bit nonchalantly. Mr. Arnold and Mr. Slim, they are among the top 10 richest individuals globally, and we conduct many business transactions together. Gentlemen, this young man is Fang Jueyu from Huaxia, and I'm sure you've heard of him. He's the one who recently donated over $30 billion, Hilton introduced. Mr. Fang, you're indeed young. Arnold and Slim, hearing Hilton's introduction, didn't put on airs. Though Fang Jueyu was young, his wealth certainly qualified him as their peer. Mr. Arnold, long time no see. They barely exchanged a few words when a subtle fragrance wafted over from nearby. A group of female Asian celebrities approached, whom Fang Jueyu had seen earlier. Unexpectedly, their English was quite good too. Oh, Ms. Mizuhara, haha, Arnold laughed. Ms. Mizuhara Rimi, everyone should know her. She's currently one of our brand ambassadors in Asia. It's only because Mr. Arnold values me, Mizuhara Rimi said with a smile. We're not too familiar with this place. Would you mind if we joined you for a drink or two? Of course, with the company of such beautiful ladies, tonight's event will surely be more delightful. Fang Jueyu noticed Hilton's wandering eyes on Ice Haruka. Mr. Fang, you're all Asians. You should get to know each other better. Hilton casually moved and nudged Hashimoto Kanako closer to Fang Jueyu. It had to be said, these old men were pretty crafty. With women joining the conversation, the topics expanded beyond just business, especially with Hilton, whose witty remarks surprised Fang Jueyu. Judging by Ice Haruka's demeanor, she seemed quite willing. It turned out, in this world with enough money, most things were achievable, and Fang Jueyu now believed the racy comments Hilton made earlier were genuine. Haha, you're still the same. Arnold and Slim seemed well aware of Hilton's nature. Mr. Fang, I'd like to explore this estate as well, Hashimoto Kanako suddenly whispered to Fang Jueyu. I'm a bit afraid of the dark. Could you accompany me? Fang Jueyu was momentarily stunned by the direct invitation. Haha, Mr. Fang, you can't be like this. Seeing Fang Juyu's embarrassed state, Arnold and Slim started teasing him. They leaned in and whispered, You're not incapable, are you? You're the ones who aren't capable. It's just a tour of the estate. A man can take anything but being called incapable. The Queen's estate was enormous. Although it didn't cover the entire island, it was almost as large as Jiangnan University. The central area featured castle-like buildings, and the surrounding areas consisted of orchards, farmland, and some relatively desolate spots. While the banquet area was brightly lit and bustling, other parts of the estate felt quite deserted. Hashimoto Kanako was very short. Standing next to Fang Jueyu, she looked like a daughter with her father. However, as the Lolita goddess in the hearts of countless otakus, to say she held no attraction for Fang Jueyu would be nonsense unless he wasn't a man at all. I heard that Mr. Fang is a very famous philanthropist in Huaxia. Hashimoto Kanako had various business collaborations in Huaxia, as well as many friends there. From them, she had heard of a very young tycoon, but she hadn't expected to meet Fang Jueyu here. As an entertainer, regardless of the country, social status was never that high. In the eyes of true big shots, many female stars were seen as playthings. In fact, they were often arranged to dine and drink with big figures, with many choices beyond their control. Hashimoto Kanako, a former child star, was relatively sheltered for various reasons. At 20, she hadn't yet experienced those events, but having been in this entertainment whirlpool for long, she knew these matters were inevitable. Invited by Queen Yisha of England to this premier gathering, she naturally had hopes of finding a strong backer. Her companions, Mizuhara Rimi and Ice Haruka, shared the same goal. Landing any connection could potentially spare them from such a fate in the future. Surprisingly, she encountered Fang Jueyu here, an Asian billionaire. Naturally, Hashimoto Kanako was more inclined to get closer. To be honest, I wouldn't call myself a philanthropist. When I did those things, I never intended for them to become public, Fang Jueyu said with a smile. It's just because someone wanted to tarnish my reputation for certain objectives. The charity folks couldn't stand it, so they spoke up for me. That's still amazing. No one has ever made such a large donation without wanting recognition, Hashimoto Kanako said, playing with her skirt. With Mr. Fang being such an outstanding person, there must be many wonderful girls around you. Fang Jueyu glanced down at Hashimoto Kanako, thinking, why did she drag him into this dim spot unless she aimed to do something indescribable? Why suddenly shift to such earnest questions? I already have a girlfriend, so I don't pay much attention to others. To be honest, Fang Jueyu was a normal man, and after being with Gyu Xinyu, he had transformed from a boy to man. At this age, which young man wasn't full of energy, having thoughts about beautiful women was perfectly natural. He wasn't a saint. He had also watched some adult films before, which wasn't a secret. If he were still single, he wouldn't mind something with Hashimoto Kanako or even more people. Though Zio said his mindset would eventually change, so far, Fang Jueyu wasn't going to act that way. That's unfortunate, Hashimoto Kanako said, disappointed upon hearing Fang Jueyu's words, but she didn't seem ready to give up. Some mundane norms only constrained ordinary people. Clearly, Fang Jueyu wasn't ordinary. For example, Mr. Hilton might showcase only one wife, but there were likely undisclosed women behind the scenes. Hashimoto Kanako wasn't overly ambitious. She just wanted to find a pillar of support, nothing more. Mr. Fang, what do you think of the girls from Sun Country? Hashimoto Kanako asked with a flirtatious look. Sun Country's girls, huh? Fang Jueyu indeed had an affinity for girls from the Sun Country. My dad used to say, choose Huaxia chefs, English butlers, and Sun Country wives. Mr. Fang, your father is quite amusing. Amusing, more like an old pervert, challenged Fang Jueyu inwardly. I don't require much, nor do I want anything. Hashimoto Kanako suddenly wrapped her arm around Fang Jueyu, even daringly pressing her body against his without warning. What the hell, that's bold. Fang Jueyu froze as he felt a hand on his thigh. Shall we find another place? Hashimoto Kanako looked up at him, her face surely blushing if not for the night's cover. Fang Jueyu was momentarily at a loss for an exit strategy. Walking away might result in doubt about his capabilities, but if he engaged, it would surely betray Gyu Xinyu. Gu Yi, come out, help me. Fang Jueyu shouted internally, hoping Gu Yi would appear to assist him promptly. Suddenly, he felt the soft body collapse into his embrace as Hashimoto Kanako fainted. And there Gu Yi was, appearing almost magically at his side. My God, how did you know? Fang Jueyu confirmed he hadn't spoken aloud. It's not difficult, sir. As long as you need my assistance, I can sense it, Gu Yi said calmly. Oh damn, can you read my thoughts? Wouldn't that mean all my secrets are exposed to you? Fang Jueyu felt his secrets were non-existent before Gu Yi. Rest assured, sir. As a qualified guardian, I wouldn't invade your mind uninvited. I can capture some mental signals you emit when in need of help, allowing me to arrive immediately, Gu Yi explained. Phew, that's good, Fang Jueyu sighed with relief. But sir, such a beautiful woman has thrown herself at you, and you're really going to do nothing. Pa, I'm a decent person. I'm not the pervert my dad is, Fang Jueyu asserted righteously. I won't disclose anything to Ms. Gyu. My loyalty lies wholly with you, Gu Yi insisted. Still, it's not right. Fang Jueyu picked up Hashimoto Kanako. Find her a place to get some rest. Yes, sir, what about you? I'll continue attending the event. Fang Jueyu began walking toward the orchard. Sir, the event is that way. That's the orchard, Gu Yi reminded him. I know, Fang Jueyu growled angrily. I can't just return like this, can I? Wouldn't Mr. Hilton and the others mock me as a 5-second man? So you? I'll wander for half an hour. No, an hour before going back. Fang Jueyu added, in the meantime, don't let her wake up. Sigh, the joy of the wealthy is beyond imagination. Fang Jueyu couldn't have imagined before that a star, considered a goddess by many, would throw herself at him. But now, it seemed like a very ordinary thing, and maybe he'd get used to it if it happened more often. After blowing in the cold wind for an hour, Fang Jueyu returned to the party. Everyone was still chatting and drinking, as it was too early to do any questionable activities. The required socializing was still in order. Hilton, Arnold, and Slim were gathered together, laughing and talking about something. Mr. Fang, you're back. The three of them immediately gave Fang Jueyu meaningful smiles when they saw him. Fang Jueyu was too lazy to explain, as such things seemed completely normal in their eyes. Tusk, young people will be young, Hilton said enviously. I wish I were your age. Ha, Arnold laughed. Drink more goji berry tea to nourish yourself. That's how people in Huaxia maintain their health now. Come on, you're laughing at me, but who came back the earliest? Wasn't it you? Fang Jueyu found it amusing. These big shots from the Forbes list nearly came to blows over just a few minutes, but it wasn't hard to understand. After all, it was a matter of men's pride. Fang Jueyu felt a bit guilty. If they knew he spent the past hour munching on fruit in the orchard, they'd laugh their heads off. When world-class tycoons gathered, the conversation naturally wasn't just about women. They had more money than they could spend in a lifetime, so they pursued the thrill of business achievements. Fang Jueyu, who knew next to nothing about business, still gained a lot from listening in on their conversations. In a room of the castle, Prince Yanez was with a European star. He wasn't a loyal type. Although he pursued Princess Silit, it didn't prevent him from enjoying temporary pleasure and benefits with others. Buzz. His phone vibrated on the bedside table. Prince Yanez, your phone. The gorgeous star heard the phone vibrating. Later, Yanez didn't care whose call it was. If it interrupted his good time, that was a major issue. However, the interruption dampened his interest. After finishing up quickly, he picked up the phone, seeing that it was his father, Prince Jade, calling. Strange, why is father calling so late? Yanez had moved out after coming of age. He managed part of the family's enterprises and wasn't too closely connected with the family. Father, what do you need me for? Although Yanez was somewhat brash, he was very timid in front of his father. Prince Jade was a proper military man, his iron-blooded aura something that a half-hearted soldier like Yanez, who had trained in the army for only 2 years, could never match. How dare you ask what's wrong? Prince Jie began cursing. Where did you go today? Did you offend someone? Just now, the king of the Saluok kingdom had called, furious, asking for an explanation. The price of oil imported from the Saudi kingdom had doubled overnight, and it was somehow related to his son, Yena's. Although the Saudi side hadn't explicitly stated the reason, it was easy to guess why. I attended a banquet hosted by Queen Ishtar today. Yena's didn't give a thought to his earlier conflict with Fang Jueyu. After all, Fang Jueyu's exploits were only famous in Huaxia, and Yena's didn't pay much attention to Huaxia matters, thinking Fang Jueyu was just an ordinary rich man from there. What happened? Why are you so angry? Yena sensed the fury in Prince Jie's voice. How dare you ask what's wrong? Did you offend someone? Prince Jie nearly roared. The king just told me that the price of Saudi oil exports to our country has doubled. Did you offend someone from the Saudi kingdom? Saudi kingdom? No, I didn't. Yena's was baffled. Although there were a few nobles from the Saudi kingdom at the banquet, he hadn't interacted with them at all. Moreover, he was well aware that the Saudi kingdom controlled the energy lifeline of the Salot kingdom, so he wouldn't be foolish enough to offend them. Then what's going on? Think carefully. If you must ask whom I offended, I did have a minor conflict with a wimp from Huaxia over Princess Silit today. On reflection, it seemed his only conflict was with that Huaxia man earlier. But it doesn't make sense. How could a Huaxia man get the Saudi kingdom to arbitrarily raise our oil import prices? Yena's couldn't believe Fang Jueyu had such power. Before Yena's could argue, Prince Jie hung up the phone immediately. How is it possible? How could that Huaxia monkey have such capabilities? Yena's suddenly remembered something Fang Jueyu said before leaving. Prince Yena's, when the time comes to ask for my help, don't forget to bring some sincerity. Yena's vividly remembered the confident smile on Fang Jueyu's face when he said this. Being disowned from the family was no small matter. Yena's owed everything, his wealth, fame, and status, to his family. Without them, his future would be bleak. Moreover, due to his forceful arrogance, he had offended many over the years. Without his family's protection, the consequences. I must go find him, Yena's thought, quickly dressing. This matter needed resolving fast. Though he was reluctant, he had to swallow his pride. Prince Yena's, what's wrong? The star on the bed said coyly. Unfortunately, Yena's didn't spare her a glance. For him, there could be countless women, but he'd never forget what made everything possible. He dressed, opened the door, and left without hesitation. At this time, Fang Jueyu was soaking blissfully in a crystal bathtub, having drunk a little red wine, making his head feel a bit woozy. Young master, Prince Yena's of the Salot kingdom is looking for you. Zhuang Ying knocked on Fang Jueyu's bathroom door, curious how Fang Jueyu got involved with someone from the Silog kingdom. Oh, he's here, Fang Jueyu smiled slightly. It seemed the reaction from the Salot kingdom was rather quick. Did he come alone? Yes, he came alone. No, I mean, did he bring anything, like gifts or something? He came empty-handed. Zhuang Ying was even more puzzled. Damn, coming to apologize empty-handed. Fang Jueyu muttered under his breath. He's playing games with me, huh? Fang Jueyu said unceremoniously. Then tell him I'm busy. Gogh Yi, Fang Jueyu called out casually. Whoosh! Gogh Yi appeared in front of Fang Jueyu as if he were a phantom. You, how did you get in? Fang Jueyu was soaking in a nearly transparent crystal bathtub, and being exposed like this in front of another man made him tense up immediately. He quickly grabbed a towel to cover himself. If I couldn't even get through a door, how could I possibly protect you, young master? Gogh Yi said stiffly. You stay outside the door and keep watch. I'm afraid that Yena's might resort to force, and Sister Zhuang Ying doesn't have skills like yours. If he breaks in, that would be really embarrassing for me. Rest assured, young master, I won't let him near the door of this room. Gogh Yi nodded and disappeared again like a ghost. Tusk, I wish I had skills like that. Fang Jueyu was a bit envious. Then why aren't you unlocking the first phase of authorization yet? Little Yi said. As long as you start learning how to unlock your potential, you'll be as capable as him in 1 to 2 years at most. It's not that simple. Fang Jueyu looked at his seemingly endless balance and felt like crying. I'm sorry, Prince Yena's, but our young master is taking a bath and said he doesn't have time to meet you, Zhuang Ying politely said outside the room. Although she didn't know what happened, from Fang Jueyu's attitude, she could tell that this Yena's fellow must have offended him. Up to now, anyone who had offended Fang Jueyu either went bankrupt or ended up in a mental hospital. There seemed to be no good outcomes. Zhuang Ying silently broke a cold sweat on behalf of Yanas. Beautiful lady, I really have an urgent matter that requires me to see Mr. Fang Jueyu immediately. Could you please help me out? Yanas glanced at Gogh next to Zhuang Ying. With his temperament, had Fang Jueyu dared to put on airs with him, he would have kicked the door in long ago. He still wasn't sure if Fang Jueyu had really grasped control over their country's energy lifeline. If it was just a coincidence, wouldn't his humble attitude make him a laughingstock to this Huaxia person? However, this towering man gave him a very dangerous feeling. Yanas had served in the military for 2 years, and the strongest soldier he'd encountered was his own instructor. Facing ordinary thugs, Yanas could handle 10 of them without much trouble, but against his instructor, he couldn't even take one punch. His instincts told him that the man in front of him was even more dangerous than that instructor. Without knowing the other party's background, Yanas naturally didn't dare make a move. If the situation in the Saudi kingdom really was Fang Jueyu's doing, then there might not be any room for reconciliation later. Sorry, Prince Yanas, I'm just a full-time assistant to the young master. I only pass on his orders and have no authority to interfere with his decisions. May I daringly ask, has Prince Yanas had a conflict with our young master? It's just a small misunderstanding, Yanas smiled. I came this time to make friends with Mr. Fang and clear up the previous misunderstanding. So Prince Yanas, you're here to apologize. Now Zhuang Ying finally understood why Fang Jueyu had asked if he had come empty-handed. Prince Yanas, forgive my bluntness, but we in Huaxia are known for our traditions of courtesy. Coming empty-handed to apologize seems a bit insincere, don't you think? What does he want? Yanas was not known for his patience. He had already lowered his princely status to come over humbly to apologize, and now Fang Jueyu, on top of putting on airs, was demanding sincerity. This was outright extortion. HMPH, I don't believe this Huaxia monkey really has such capabilities. He glared at Zhuang Ying and Gogh and then stormed off angrily. Young master, Prince Yanas has left. Zhuang Ying knocked on the bathroom door and said. Ah, just left like that. Fang Jueyu was a bit surprised. Could it be that he doesn't know it was me who messed with their oil prices? For the first time in his life, he had encountered someone with such a temper coming to apologize. It seemed his actions weren't severe enough. Fang Jueyu picked up his phone and called High Wire again. Mom, help me with a message to the King of Saudi Arabia. It seems the oil import prices for the Select Kingdom are still too cheap. Let's give them a super increase, raise it to 400% of the original price. Damn Huaxia person, Yanas stormed back to his room. But the more he thought about it, the more something felt off. Fang Jueyu seemed completely confident, as if he knew I was going to seek reconciliation. Could it really be his doing? Yanas lit a cigarette to calm himself down. It seemed this yellow-skinned monkey from Huaxia was far more complex than he imagined. Thinking of this, he immediately called Princess Silit. Princess Silit, it's me, Yanas. Yanas tried to make his tone sound more gentlemanly. Prince Yanas, as a gentleman, you should know this is the most precious rest time for a woman. In fact, Silit was just cuddled up with a tablet watching a movie. She simply didn't want to talk to Yanas. Wait, Silit, don't hang up. I'm not here to bother you this time, Yanas hurriedly said, fearing she'd hang up on him like before. So what do you want? I wanted to ask, who exactly is this Mr. Fang from Huaxia? Yanas asked tentatively. Hearing this, Silit let out a crooked, satisfied smile. Yanas, who always had his nose in the air, now calling to ask about Fang Jueyu's background, must have encountered some trouble. Could he really change Saudi Arabia's oil export prices with a single command? Silit thought of what Fang Jueyu had told her before. In truth, I'm not too sure either, but I know that Mr. Fang's family has been close to ours for generations, Silit answered truthfully. But his background is definitely not ordinary. Silit suddenly recalled the evening banquet where Queen Yishar looked as if she were willing to marry off all her princesses to Fang Jueyu as minor wives. Oh, by the way, if you're willing to give me your limited edition CCXR Qatar Royal Edition, I'll give you some news. Silit knew Yanas had a very nice sports car she had eyed for a long time. Not extorting him a bit now would be a waste of such an opportunity. Is this news very important? Of course, otherwise why would I ask for such a high price? Silit laughed. All right, Yanas gritted his teeth. What's the news? Fang Jueyu told me he made a call to the King of Saudi Arabia. From now on, your country's oil import prices have doubled. So it was really him. Cold sweat began to drip from Yanas' forehead. Almost at the same time, his father, Prince Jade, called again. His heart sank. Instinct told him this wouldn't be good news. "Princess, let's talk next time. My father is calling me. I promise the car will be delivered to you." Yanes nervously answered the phone, and a barrage of shouts nearly deafened him. "You fool, what have you done? The oil import prices are now 4 times the original." "Wah, what? 4 times?" Yanes was stunned that this Huaxia man named Fang Jueyu could be so ruthless. This was practically a death sentence for their country. It was true that the Salot kingdom was indeed powerful, but to develop further, they had incurred national debts amounting to tens of thousands of US dollars. The rise in oil prices undoubtedly added insult to injury. If this news got out, even if his father and the country's king didn't kill him, the over 1 billion people of Salot kingdom could drown him in a spit each. "From today, your title is revoked." "What? Father, you can't do this." Yanes panicked instantly. He never imagined that such a trivial conflict would escalate to this level. "This is the king's decision," Prince Jade said sternly. "You have 3 days to cleanly resolve this matter. If you can't, don't come back. From now on, the royal family will no longer have you as a member." Hanging up the phone, Yanes' head was still buzzing. He knew that if he couldn't calm Fang Jueyu's anger, he would not only lose his right to inherit his prince title, but also all his current wealth and power. "I must go see him immediately." Despite his extreme reluctance, he had no choice but to bow. He immediately found his confidant, his butler Matthews, who had been Prince Jade's butler and was reassigned to Yanes because they were uneasy about Yanes living alone abroad. "Matthews, I'm in trouble," Yanes said gravely. "I've already heard, Prince Yanes." Just a moment ago, Prince Jade had informed Matthews about the situation and instructed him to assist Yanes in handling it well. "What happened exactly? Who did you run into a conflict with?" "A very young man from Huaxia who is quite close to Princess Silit. I just called him a Huaxia monkey, that's all." Yanes still didn't realize the seriousness of the matter. "Please calm down first. The other party only raised the price and didn't cut off the Salot kingdom's oil supply. There should still be room for negotiations. What is needed is your attitude," Matthews said. "I will first gather some information about that Huaxia man." Even though he was just a butler, like a dog thriving with its master, Matthews had a wide range of contacts. Through some friends, he quickly gathered a lot of information about Fang Jueyu. "Prince Yanes, you cannot continue to provoke that young man from Huaxia. This matter seems a bit tricky." Matthews' face showed rare seriousness. "It can't be that serious, Matthews. We haven't engaged in any severe conflict. It's just a bit of discord in language. It shouldn't be that serious, right?" Yanes still didn't grasp the seriousness of the situation. "Young master, this is not about conflict or not. It's a matter of face and national honor." Matthews, more mature than Yanes, quickly hit the core of the problem. "I've already checked some information about Mr. Fang. He is quite an unusual person." "What do you mean?" "According to news from Huaxia, although this Mr. Fang is a wealthy man, he never plays by the rules. Those who offend him either end up in jail or in the hospital, and he values face very much. Moreover, keep in mind, he is a Huaxia person. This Mr. Fang is someone who places a lot of importance on national honor. If your conflict with him was solely based on Princess Silit, perhaps he wouldn't resort to such measures against you. But you said something you shouldn't have. So what do we do now?" Yanes no longer cared about the reasons. "You may need to apologize for your inappropriate comments in a public setting or on a platform, and you'll need to show some sincerity to earn Mr. Fang's forgiveness." Sincerity again. Yanes was so enraged he felt like smashing something. This was blatant exploitation. Moreover, publicly apologizing, how could he hold his head up in the European upper-class society after that? Don't the people from Huaxia have a concept of emotional distress compensation? 100 million should suffice to calm him down, right? Yanes said viciously. Although he was a prince with many enterprises, he had many servants and women to support. This 100 million was like tearing a large chunk of flesh from him. "About the apology, Prince. Enough, that's it. Tomorrow you take the money to him. If he remains unreasonable, I will have to resort to other methods." Yanes' eyes turned cold. There has always been a saying, ordinary people cannot fight the wealthy, and the wealthy are no match for officials. Even if Fang Jueyu was wealthy, he was still merely a millionaire, while Yanes, as a prince, possessed things that a millionaire couldn't compare to. This was the foundation of a country. "I understand," Matthew sighed, knowing what Yanes meant by other methods. As the son of a prince, he had access to certain special resources and forces, and he had used similar means to solve issues before. But for some reason, he felt that this time, the person they were facing was shrouded in mystery. He could only do his best to help Yanas resolve this matter using his methods. The next day, Fang Jueyu left the island. As he was leaving, he saw Hashimoto Kanako and others. He clearly saw a trace of resentment in Hashimoto Kanako's eyes. Hashimoto Kanako had woken up in the morning to find herself lying in bed. She didn't suspect that Fang Jueyu had knocked her out, simply assuming she had just drunk too much. Only she knew she had yet to have any relations with any man. From this perspective, Fang Jueyu hadn't taken advantage of her while she was unconscious, which left her confused at this choice between a beast and something less than a beast, given her strong self-confidence. After returning, the entire Platinum Palace was bustling, preparing for tomorrow's birthday celebration. Fang Jueyu simply returned to his room, as those princesses kept haunting him relentlessly. "Young master, there's someone named Matthews looking for you. He claims to be the butler of Prince Yanas." "Oh, I thought he wouldn't come." Fang Jueyu was lying on his bed, watching the live broadcast of the League of Legends S9 group stage. Apparently, he still lacks sincerity, actually sending just a butler. "Let him wait. I'll speak with him after finishing this match." An elderly butler, looking around 60 years old, stood in the white gold palace hall holding a letter. Seeing Zhuang Ying return, he immediately approached her. "Miss Zhuang, what did Mr. Fang say?" "Mr. Matthews, my young master is currently busy and may not be able to see you at the moment," Zhuang Ying said apologetically. "Is that so?" Matthews was already mentally prepared for such a response. "Then, Miss Zhuang, could you give this letter to Mr. Fang? Here is a handwritten letter from Prince Yanas and a small token of sincerity, hoping Mr. Fang can forgive our prince's rashness." "Please wait a moment." After accepting the envelope, Zhuang Ying returned to Fang Jueyu's room. "A handwritten letter." Fang Jueyu laughed coldly as he opened the envelope. Although the letter's tone was somewhat submissive, it lacked any acknowledgement of wrongdoing, only claiming it was a misunderstanding. 100 million in emotional distress compensation. Do they think I'm a beggar? Fang Jueyu stuffed the letter and checked back into the envelope. "Tell him, if he wants to admit his mistake, he should do it sincerely. He should apologize to the Huaxia people on Twitter, and as for the emotional distress compensation, multiply it by 10 and convert it to euros before I'm willing to consider it." 1 billion euros. Has he lost his mind? Hearing the message Matthews had brought back, Yanas immediately tore the letter and the attached check to pieces. The sum of all his assets together might not even add up to 1 billion euros, and as for apologizing on Twitter, that was absolutely out of the question. "Ungrateful wretch, don't blame me if my methods become ruthless." Yana's face was filled with intense madness. As a member of the royal family of a nation, lowering his status to apologize to a commoner from Huaxia was already a humbling act, yet he didn't expect the other party to show him no respect at all. "Matthews, help me contact the people from Black Arrow. 10 million euros to kill one person for me." Black Arrow was a very famous assassin organization in Europe. The members of this organization were divided into many levels, from the weakest E level to the strongest S level. Each tier of assassins corresponded to different prices, and 10 million euros was enough to hire a top-notch A-level assassin. This organization's success rate was very high, and if a mission failed, they would refund all the fees. The assassins were also very professional. If captured, they would rather commit suicide than expose the buyer's information, so their business was very good in Europe. "Prince Yanas, this might not be a good idea," Matthews advised. "This young man from Huaxia is likely not easy to deal with. He probably has an even more powerful family backing him. If the assassination fails, the situation might become even worse." "It's already very bad now," Yanas shouted. He almost had no other options left. His father, Prince Jir, had only given him 3 days. Even if his properties were enough to sell for 1 billion euros, there was absolutely no way he could gather that much cash in just 3 short days. Rather than losing his title and being expelled from the family in 3 days, he might as well take a gamble. As long as he could leave Fang Jueyu permanently in Europe, the people of the Saudi kingdom would absolutely not risk offending their powerful Selot kingdom for a dead man. "But, Matthews, don't forget who's your boss now," Yanas said with a harsh tone. Matthews dared not speak further. "Also, only the 2 of us can know about this matter. Absolutely no one else must find out, especially not my father." Understood, Prince. I'll handle it right away, Matthew sighed. As a butler, he could only unconditionally obey Yena's orders. No, just in case I need to make a foolproof plan. Yena's thought about it carefully. Matthew's words were indeed correct. If the assassination failed, Fang Jueyu would definitely suspect him first, and if that happened, the situation would become even worse. Yena's took out his phone and dialed a very special number. Prince Jir did not have just one son. Yena's was his eldest son, but there was also a younger son. However, his younger son was a bit different from ordinary people. He displayed some incredible abilities from a young age. Powerful countries like the Selat Kingdom had some special superpower user teams, and Yena's brother became a member of one of them. Although the two brothers now had different statuses and didn't communicate as frequently as before, Yena's always looked after his brother because they were developing in different directions and had no disputes over inheriting Prince Jir's title. Their relationship had always been very good. "Brother, you need something." A relatively more youthful voice came from the other end of the phone. "Jet, I've run into a bit of trouble and need your help." What Huaxia Esports, year after year in the semifinals, last year quarterfinals, and this year only round of 16, it's killing me. Fang Jueyu angrily closed the live stream. The dismal performance in the group stage made him want to curse. Out of over 1 billion people in Huaxia, we can't produce a single championship team. Thunder Network's esports department had already been assembled, but the team had just been formed, and they hadn't even registered yet. Despite having all the energy, Fang Jueyu had no outlet. "Old Fang, did you watch the match?" Wang Kong ignored the time difference and called in a huff. Clearly, the unsatisfactory match results had him equally upset. "I watched it. I now just want to smash their computers. A mid laner only dealt 2,200 points of damage in a match. Even I could do that." Fang Jueyu said disappointedly. "Now we're counting on your team. I hope they can do us proud. They're Huaxia's only hope, your ZZ team." "Let's hope. I've told our team members that if we win the World Championship this year, they'll each get a 2 million RMB reward. I'd even grant them a night to remember." "Ha ha ha, where there's a heavy reward, there are brave men. I think I should support your team a bit as well. By the way, our district's DSD team is up for sale, interested in taking over," Wang Kong suddenly suggested. Sure, Fang Jueyu had looked into forming a team before, but not only were there tons of complicated procedures, they'd also have to start from the second-tier tournaments, and who knew how long it'd take to move up to the first tier. Directly taking over a team was undoubtedly the best method, at most needing to maintain a few players. How much? 200 million, including all the players and the team club's venue. "All right, I'll take it," Fang Jueyu agreed without even thinking. "I have to create a world champion team no matter what. Help me contact them and say that I've bought the team." "Okay, I'll negotiate for you then. Remember to bring gifts when you return to Huaxia," Wang Kong joked. "You got me," Wang Kong cursed as he hung up the phone. Fang Jueyu opened Weibo. Even though it was already early morning in Huaxia, the netizens were still vocal, especially regarding Wang Kong's ZZ team, which had now become the hope of all Huaxia gamers. What Fang Jueyu said to Wang Kong just now wasn't merely a joke. He was quite the esports enthusiast himself, having watched matches for 5 years without ever witnessing a Huaxia team lift the trophy. This was one of his dreams. "Fang Jueyu, at ZZ Team, Principal Wang just told me that as long as the ZZ Team can win the championship, each player will get a 2 million reward. On top of what Principal Wang is offering, I'll personally add an additional 5 million reward for each player and a first-class airplane ticket voucher." A horde of already enthusiastic netizens who hadn't gone to sleep flooded the comment area with replies in just a few minutes. 6666, the director's at it again, go ZZ Team. "Mom, I want to go into esports too." The person above, your mom's thrilled, rewarded you with your favorite slap. "I should indeed prepare well for my team when I return home." Fang Jueyu put down his tablet and decided to find something to eat when he suddenly received a call from his stepmother, Zhuang Xinyan. "Xiaoyu, have you offended someone?" Zhuang Xinyan not only controlled the largest superpower user organization in the world, but also had influence over many assassin organizations. She had just received some news. "Someone's put a 10 million euro bounty on your head." Fang Jueyu was almost amused. "My head's only worth 10 million euros, underestimating me." It didn't take much to figure out who was behind this. Yanas had likely never imagined that the so-called Black Arrow assassin organization was also under their family's control. Ha, this muggle actually spent money to hire assassins whom my family employs to kill me. That's hilarious. Oops, I'm laughing so hard my head's fallen off. Where's my head? Juyu, what are you planning to do, Neizu? Zhuang Xinyan said playfully, as if they weren't discussing anything to do with assassins, but rather something amusing. Actually, even if Zhuang Xinyan didn't know about this, it wouldn't matter. In the organization called Black Arrow, only assassins above the S level are superpower users. Those A-level assassins are just at the stage of using firearms for assassination. Even the strongest SSS-level assassin couldn't harm a hair on Fang Jueyu's head with Gogh around. Gogh was one of the best among the potential stimulators controlled by the Fang family. Those superpower users probably wouldn't even see Fang Jueyu's face before being taken down by him. No need, killing is too boring. I haven't had enough fun yet. Fang Jueyu laughed so hard that his stomach ached a bit, but Yanas actually wanted to hire someone to kill him. Though they failed, Yanas still had to pay up a bit. Aunt Xinyan just like this. What, the people they sent out failed? The next day, Yanas received a piece of devastating news. Yes, the contact told me that the assassins they sent out lost contact last night, indicating they were likely discovered, Matthews reported. They also mentioned that due to our incorrect intel, they lost an A-level assassin from Black Arrow, and we need to compensate for this loss. Yena's face immediately darkened. Indeed, this was a rule in the world of assassins. Every time a target was set, the buyer had to provide basic information about the target, such as the security around them and their personal combat capabilities. The information they provided showed Fang Jueyu as just an ordinary person with only one bodyguard and one assistant. Considering his residence at the Platinum Palace, an A-level assassin was a very secure choice, yet the operation still failed. Normally, even if an assassination failed, a Black Arrow assassin could escape without problems, showing they severely underestimated Fang Jueyu, resulting in the loss. So this loss had to be compensated by them. As for that 10 million euro contract, there was no way to reclaim it now. How much do they want? Yanas asked through gritted teeth. 50 million euros. What, that much? Yanas nearly dropped his cup. He wasn't sure if his liquid assets totaled 50 million euros now. How was he supposed to cough up that much money? Prince, training an A-level assassin, with the manpower and resources consumed and the equipment lost, 50 million euros is already quite little, Matthews remarked. Pay them? Yanas knew he couldn't afford to offend this organization. Their assassins were everywhere in Europe. There was once a wealthy man who owed them money and didn't pay. He faced over 20 assassination attempts within days and died in his villa on the third day. But Prince, your available funds in the account are just under 40 million euros right now. How can this be? Last time I checked, there was around 80 million. 6 months ago, you invested in a real estate project, using some of that money to turn over. Then use my fixed assets to borrow money from the bank first. Yanas was on the verge of collapse. This amount could hire a superpower user-level assassin once. Thud, his fist hit the table hard. Damn Huaxia monkey, I'll throw your corpse into the sea to feed the sharks for sure. After some preparation, Queen Yishar's birthday celebration finally arrived. Her birthday was almost a national festivity. As customary, there was a special parade at the celebration. This year's birthday involved 1,400 soldiers along with nearly 300 horses and 400 musicians. As an invited guest, many social elites were invited to a VIP area on the balcony of the Platinum Palace. As the most significant guest of Queen Yishar, Fang Jueyu was even invited to ride with her in the carriage. Keep in mind that even Fang Jueyu's father attended only one of Queen Yishar's birthday celebrations. So, this time, Fang Jueyu received the top-level hospitality. Thousands of people lined up in a long line, gathered in the park near the Platinum Palace, and then continued along the road beside it, congregating at the palace gates to commemorate late kings, a traditional annual event. The Royal Cavalry Guard, Royal Cavalry Artillery Group's King's Honor Guard, etc., were already performing at the Cavalry Guard parade ground. The royal family members rode carriages along tree-lined avenues, greeting the crowd. Today, Queen Yishar was dressed in a very bright manner, with her grass-green coat and hat. Who knows if the Huaxia term green hat had been introduced to England? She seemed to think this color combination was quite elegant. Fang Jueyu, however, was wearing an extravagant formal suit standing next to Queen Yishur. Needless to say, he was rather embarrassed. Facing so many cameras, even though his mental resilience had improved much over the past 2 months, his body was still somewhat stiff. Why does the person beside Queen Yishur look so familiar? Queen Yishur's birthday was also an international event. Many Huaxia netizens bypassed the internet to watch this live broadcast. Oh my God, isn't that the dean? Is it? Someone hurry and confirm for me. I swear on 25 years of singlehood, that's definitely the dean. What kind of status is this? Why is the dean at the queen's birthday? He's even in the same carriage as the queen and those royal members. Can someone explain? I don't know what to say. I'm bowing down to the dean. What am I seeing? My God, Princess Silit is even standing next to him and chatting. She's even wiping his sweat. My wife, I've been replaced by the dean. Above, you can borrow the queen's hat. Mr. Fang, are you nervous attending such a ceremony for the first time? Princess Silit smiled and asked Fang Jueyu. Had I known it was this exaggerated, I wouldn't have come. Fang Jueyu regretted it immensely. People worldwide would probably get to know him now. A Huaxia person sneaking into a royal family was sure to get his identity dug up by journalists. I never wanted to be this high profile either. Fang Jueyu could already imagine how his Weibo would explode after today's event. What on earth is this guy's background? Sitting in the VIP section, Yana saw this scene and was almost spitting fire in anger. But considering Fang Jueyu's mysterious background, he was apprehensive. Every bit of information available suggested Fang Jueyu was just an affluent student with almost no information on his parents. Yana's status was already quite noble. Many legitimate princes of European countries were present, but they didn't have the privilege of riding in the same carriage as the English royal family. It was evident Fang Jueyu's identity wasn't as simple as the investigation suggested. No matter what, you won't escape Europe unscathed. Yana's eyes were filled with resentment and murderous intent. The royal military ceremony lasted for more than an hour. With an ensemble of planes, tanks, and artillery, a birthday celebration truly felt as grand as a national day. Perhaps this was the different ethos brought about by different national systems and cultures. The Queen's carriage procession entered the White Gold Palace. When she appeared on the balcony of the White Gold Palace once again, she had already changed into another outfit. Even at the age of 90, a woman's love for beauty never changes. Queen Yishur wore a long, spotless white gown, with a diamond necklace gifted by Fang Jueyu's grandfather hanging at her chest and a crown given by Fang Jueyu on her head. If Queen Yishur had gone back to her younger days, she would have been stunningly beautiful. Even at this age, she left many princes and princesses in awe. Today's Queen Yishur was truly different from her usual self. Queen Yishur gave a lengthy speech, essentially thanking the guests for their presence and showcasing England's strong national power today. In the cheers of countless crowds, this grand and solemn parade ceremony came to an end. Jet, the celebration is over, get ready to take action, Yanas urged impatiently. He didn't know when Fang Jueyu would leave England, and if he returned to Huaxia, it would be much harder to make a move. Phew, finally it's over, almost died of embarrassment. Fang Jueyu changed out of the grand dress in his room. Soon it would be Queen Yishur's birthday banquet, and he planned to change into something comfortable and appropriate before going. Master, you have several missed calls, Zhuang Ying said while organizing his things. There's Mr. Wang Kong's and some of your old friends. Damn, must be coming to interrogate me. Fang Jueyu knew that many people had already started gossiping about his relationship with the England royal family through this live broadcast. They're probably all coming to inquire now. Fang Jueyu could already imagine the scene after returning to his country, definitely being chased by reporters on the streets every day. If it weren't for Xiao Yi and Gu Yi who could help solve many troubles, his privacy might have been impossible to hide. You really are a dark horse. Finally getting through to Fang Jueyu's phone, Wang Kong's gossip fire lit up immediately. What's going on? How did you end up in Queen Yishur's carriage? You aren't some kind of honorary knight in England, are you? In the England royal family, not everyone had royal blood. Many nobles were granted special royal status for their great contribution to the country. You've been reading too many novels. Fang Jueyu was amused by Wang Kong's wild imagination. Right, even those honorary titles aren't qualified to sit in the same carriage with them. You aren't engaged to some princess, are you? Wang Kong grinned wickedly. That's not good. If your family Xinyu finds out, she'll tear you apart. Bah, am I that kind of person? Fang Jueyu said. But you got it half right. Queen Yishur is eager to make all her princesses my wives. Even as side wives she'd be delighted. Yeah, right. Wang Kong clearly didn't believe Fang Juyu's nonsense. By the way, the elimination round of the S Championship is in a few days. I'm planning to go to the Surlot Kingdom tomorrow. Wanna come? Huh, is this year's final in the Surlot Kingdom? Fang Juyu only knew the tournament was in Europe this year. Didn't think it would be such a coincidence. It was indeed a small world, considering he had just had some disputes with a prince from the Prince of Surlot Kingdom. Yeah, I thought you knew, in Hanwoo City, Surlot Kingdom. I have to go cheer for my ZZ team. As the boss, I have to show up at critical moments. Haha, sure, I'll go with you. Let's meet in Nanwoo City tomorrow then. Looks like we'll have to arrange some other trips. Fang Juyu originally planned to visit the family called Ladinik after finishing things here, but now it seemed this plan would have to be postponed. Soon, there was Su Lun's concert, which Fang Juyu had planned to watch with Gyu Xinyu. After watching the matches, he had to return. Then there's the despairing graduation thesis. Such a headache. Fang Juyu patted his head. This was the most troublesome thing for every graduating student, besides job hunting. Master, it seems like someone has set their eyes on you. Just as Fang Juyu was about to gather them for a meal, Gogh mysteriously appeared beside him. Gogh, you always appear out of nowhere, scaring people half to death, you know. Fang Juyu patted his chest. With Gogh's training, he wouldn't fear watching horror movies in the future. What's going on? What do you mean someone has set their eyes on me? Master, there were originally only 30 energy reactions around the White Gold Palace, but since the parade ended in the morning, it's become 31, and there's been a source of energy spying on your room. What, who is it? Not clear. Those 30 energy spots should be holy knights trained by the England royals. Seeing Fang Juyu's puzzled look, Gogh added, they're superpower users with English Royal Armor Guard titles. Oh, then that person you mentioned. Their energy is different, should not be from the England royal family. However, this person's energy level is a notch higher than those holy knights. According to international classification, should be an SS-level superpower user. What nonsense, can't understand. Fang Juyu rolled his eyes. Just tell me how they compare to you. I could kill him as easily as a chicken, Gogh said coldly. Then what are you saying, just take them down one by one as you see? Fang Juyu was confident in Gogh's strength. Wait, don't kill him, capture him first. I reckon it's Yena's doing it again. I'm about to go to the Surlot Kingdom, might as well deal with it then. Can you find him? Fang Juyu asked. Yes, he is likely a superpower user specializing in spiritual power, but those of us who underwent orthodox potential development almost awakened all powers. His spiritual power is not even a tenth of mine. I can easily find him. Then bring him over first. We shouldn't lose decorum at the Queen's banquet later. Fang Juyu began putting on his suit and tie. Yes, master. Gogh came and went without a trace. Fang Juyu had just put on his shiny new shoes when Gogh brought in a white youth wearing what seemed to be high-tech, tight-fitting clothes. From his appearance, he even had quite a resemblance to Yena's. Can a broken sword be reforged? Can a shattered mirror be restored? Can heartache go unnoticed? The youth murmured something in English, seemingly in a daze. What's wrong with him? Head malfunctioned. Fang Juyu thought the phrase sounded familiar. Oh, I attacked his brain with spiritual power, possibly a fragment from some memory, Gogh said nonchalantly. If the master finds him noisy, I will shut him up. Gogh gently struck his neck, and the youth immediately lost consciousness. Always those petty folks trying to harm me, but they don't know how many tricks I have. Fang Juyu sighed with pity. Poor child. Once I've dealt with Yena's, I'll toss him into a mental hospital too. Come on, let's eat. We're off to the banquet. What's going on? Why haven't we heard from Jet yet? Yena's paced back and forth in his room. He hadn't expected Jet to take down Fang Juyu today, but he'd been unable to contact Jet for the past half hour. Could something have happened to him? Yena's had a bad premonition, yet Jet was an SS-grade superpower user. Could Fang Juyu have such strong protection by his side? Suddenly, an image of the tower-like man beside Fang Juyu flashed through his mind. Could it be him? Prince Yena's, it's time to go. The Queen's banquet is about to start. Matthews had already prepared Yena's outfit for the banquet. All right, Yena's picked up his clothes and walked into his room. The Platinum Palace today appeared entirely different from its usual dignified yet quiet demeanor. At the Queen's banquet, there were at least hundreds of guests, each dressed in luxurious and elegant attire, accompanied by their partners, evoking a kind of festive feeling. There sure are a lot of people. Fang Jueyu arrived at the banquet alone. This banquet hall was designated for the queen's esteemed guests, while those such as the butlers and bodyguards were arranged in another place. "Mr. Fang, you're here early." Hilton spotted Fang Jueyu from afar and greeted him warmly. It's well known that friendships between men are easily forged, whether through wielding guns together, sharing jail time, or discussing indescribable topics. Even though Hilton's age could almost make him Fang Jueyu's grandfather, in terms of status and wealth, they interacted as equals. "Mr. Hilton, you're early too." Fang Jueyu shook his hand. Hilton's suit today was obviously priceless, and with just a quick glance, Fang Jueyu noticed the sparkling diamonds and gold on the buttons. This suit alone would be worth at least $100,000. Fang Jueyu was a bit puzzled. He didn't know the price of his suit, but even if it were expensive, it was merely handcrafted by his designer and tailor, with production costs capping at several $100,000 at most. Hilton's wealth amounted to several billion $. For someone like him, this sum was significant but shouldn't elicit such astonishment. "If I'm not mistaken, this suit should be the work of Mr. Tully's Hughes, right?" Just as women understand dresses, Hilton's knowledge of suits was profound as well. Only Mr. Tully's could have the audacity to decorate clothing edges with diamonds. Hilton does have a keen eye. Little you praised. This piece was a collaboration between world-renowned luxury designer Mr. Tully's and famed tailoring master Mr. Chad. One of their dresses was once sold for nearly $900,000. Are they really that great? Fang Jueyu had definitely never heard of these two people. They're at the same level as Mr. Harem, but they're freelance designers. Your dad already hired them to his private workshop long ago, so there have been few works released since. No wonder. These masters no longer sold their works on the market, and many wealthy individuals who sought customized garments were politely declined. Wearing their creations symbolized not just wealth but status. No wonder Hilton was so surprised. "Mr. Hilton, you have good eyes." Fang Jueyu quickly put his knowledge to use. "This is indeed a design by Mr. Tully's, but it was handcrafted by Mr. Chad. I've been wanting Mr. Tully's to design a suit for me for a long time, but I keep getting rejected." Hilton sighed. "Mr. Fang, how did you get them to do it? Did you spend a lot?" "I hired them on a long-term basis. They now design and make clothes exclusively for me at my private studio. If you want, I can talk to them for you." "You signed them long-term." Hearing this news shocked Hilton even more. Mr. Tully's was notoriously selective. Many top fashion companies invited him to serve as an artistic director, but he refused them all. What kind of magic power did Fang Jueyu possess to get them to work for him? Mr. Fang's influence is truly astonishing. Hilton's assessment of Fang Jueyu rose another notch. No wonder he received such treatment even from Queen Yishar. "Haha, it's nothing much. Actually, I just rely on my family's influence. I was born at a finish line that some will never reach," Fang Jueyu said, half jokingly, half self-deprecatingly. "Haha, not necessarily, sir. Even being born well is a talent, which shows you're favored by the gods of fate," Hilton discreetly flattered him. "Hey, that guy's here too." Fang Jueyu's eyes roamed the crowd and suddenly spotted Yena's entering the hall, exuding a noble aura but wearing a face like someone attending a funeral. "Mr. Hilton, let's chat later. I'm going to greet a friend." "Sure, I'll also catch up with some old friends." "Hey, brother." Fang Jueyu patted Yena's shoulder with a harmless smile, as if they were long-lost friends reuniting. "I haven't seen you smile much since that night." Yena's turned to see Fang Jueyu and was filled with fury, wanting desperately to curse him out. "You've doubled the price of my country's oil, and now my father wants to exile me from the family. Do you think I can be happy?" But this clearly wasn't the appropriate place. He could only force a smile. He also didn't know the situation with his brother Jet, so he dared not act rashly. "Mr. Fang, I've wanted to visit you, but you were always busy. That night there may have been some misunderstandings. I'd like to take this chance to apologize." "An apology, huh? No problem. 1 billion euros for emotional distress and a public apology for slandering Huaxia online, and I'll make the Saudi kingdom restore your oil prices." Fang Jueyu smiled nonchalantly. "Mr. Fang, even if I liquidated all my assets, I couldn't come up with 1 billion euros. Our dispute wasn't anything big, right? Mr. Fang, let's not make it ugly for everyone." "Prince Yenas, are you joking with me?" Fang Jueyu chuckled. "I already gave you a chance that night, but you chose to defy me. I also gave you the chance to apologize. Your grand royal family can't come up with 1 billion euros. You even sent someone to kill me. Should I speak to you calmly? Fang Jueyu added. Oh, by the way, the assassin organization you contacted is actually under my family's control. That assassin isn't dead. I used the 50 million euros you paid to give him a paid vacation. What? Yanes suddenly felt a surge of blood in his chest, as if he were going to cough up blood. Also, I have something I'd like to say to you, but as a representative of Huaxia, a land of etiquette, I won't use foul language. Let me put it poetically. Fang Jueyu assumed the expression of a poet reciting verses. Tonight, your father will undoubtedly personally plant a loquat tree in the garden. What's that supposed to mean? Yanes listened, looking utterly confused. Clearly, the depth of Huaxia culture was far beyond his grasp. He simply couldn't fathom its mysteries. This was the price of being uneducated. Nowadays, the cultural level of internet users was increasingly high. If you didn't have some knowledge in your belly, you could get insulted and not even realize it. Luckily, Fang Jueyu hadn't yet fallen out of touch with this society and understood all the references. Why don't you go ask your language teacher? Fang Jueyu waved his hand. Oh, by the way, Prince Yanes, stop thinking about using those shady means against me. For all you know, the people you've hired might be mine, and if my subordinates accidentally get you killed first and report later, don't blame me. What do you want? Yanes finally began to comprehend Fang Jueyu's depth. He was even starting to regret getting involved with this incredibly mysterious Huaxia youth. 20 billion euros in emotional damages. The apology conditions remain unchanged. This is blackmail. In just one day, the emotional damage fee doubled to 10 billion euros. Even his father, Prince Gogh, and the entire family might not be able to come up with such a huge amount. HMPH, that superpower user was also arranged by you, right? Fang Jueyu's eyes swept over Yane's face. Is he your brother? I notice you look quite similar. Is Jade in your hands? At this point, Yanes was completely broken. No wonder he hadn't been able to contact his brother. It seemed Fang Jueyu had captured him. What did you do to him? Oh, nothing much. He just got knocked silly by my bodyguards. He should be battling Noxus people in the Summoner's Rift now, Fang Jueyu teased. Who knew what was going on with this guy? His brain had been damaged by Gogh, and he started shouting League of Legends lines. But the people you arranged weren't all that good. They didn't even touch a hair on my head before being caught by my bodyguards. Next time, please send someone a bit more capable. What do you plan to do with Jade? Yanes panicked. He had secretly hired an assassin to kill Fang Jueyu without his father's knowledge. If his father found out he'd involved his brother in this plot, he'd be furious. If he had been killed, the matter might have been handled, but he wasn't, and now his brother was in Fang Jueyu's hands. Knowing an SS-ranked superpower user was practically a leading force for any country, they barely had a few in the entire Selot nation. Their importance to the country was immeasurable, surpassing even 10 yenas compared to 1 Jade. I don't plan to do anything with him, but since you dared to send someone to kill me, you better be mentally prepared for failure. In a few days, I will return to Selot Kingdom, and then I will personally discuss it with your king. After saying this, Fang Jueyu no longer had any intention of wasting time here with him, leaving Yanes dumbfounded, staring into space. Once Fang Jueyu arrived in Selot Kingdom and informed the king of this matter, one could well imagine how dire Yanes' situation would become. Mr. Fang, that was a prince from the Selot Kingdom you were speaking with. Are you acquainted with him? Hilton paused his conversation with a few friends as Fang Jueyu approached. Sort of, but it's not exactly a good relationship, Fang Jueyu chuckled. Enough about him. Mr. Hilton, aren't you going to introduce me to your friends? Oh, ha ha ha, look at my memory. Hilton finally realized he'd forgotten the introductions. This is Mr. Barton Slider, quite the real estate tycoon. His company is ranked among the top 5 global real estate firms. If you're looking to buy property in any country, just reach out to him. And this gentleman here is Guy Todet, the CEO of Ferrari. I can buy cars from him at 40% below market price, Hilton boasted. Barton Guy, this is my recent acquaintance from Huaxia, Mr. Fang Jueyu. Pleasure to meet you both. Fang Jueyu smiled and shook their hands. He certainly had no need for buying property. There wasn't a country in the world where he didn't own real estate. He owned a significant percentage of the world's largest real estate company's shares. As for sports cars, he owned enough vehicles to drive a different one every month without repetition. Not to mention, since acquiring the souped-up sun god, He wasn't much interested in Ferrari. However, if he could get a Ferrari bicycle or electric scooter, that might be worth considering. Mr. Fang certainly is an extraordinary person. Both CEOs had witnessed Fang Jueyu earlier in the day riding in the same carriage as the Queen, and they knew that at least from the Queen's perspective, his status and position were undoubtedly far above theirs. They'd lived long enough to understand subtleties like this. After exchanging a few pleasantries, Queen Yishur and the other royal members appeared again. Although they had changed into new attire, the same necklace and crown were still on the Queen. I want to thank everyone for honoring me with their presence at my 90th birthday celebration, Queen Yishur said, beaming. Today, I've prepared a lavish luncheon for everyone. Please enjoy yourselves. If anyone drinks too much, I've arranged rooms for you to rest in. In short, I hope each of you leaves here completely satisfied. Applause. A wave of applause swept across the room. Queen Yishur took the seat at the head of the long table. Dukes and princes each took their places along the sides. However, a special spot remained vacant beside the Queen. Many eyes were on the Queen, unsure who was yet to be seated. Silit, please invite Mr. Fang over, Queen Yishur directed Princess Silit. Grandmother, that's the head seat. Isn't that improper? What's improper about it? Queen Yishur retorted. Having Mr. Fang take time to come is already our royal family's greatest honor. You foolish child, if you won't go, I'll personally invite him. Fine, I'll go. Princess Silit quickly ushered Queen Yishur back to her seat, preventing her from personally inviting Fang Jueyu up. Otherwise, it would make the monarchy look too humble, and surely by tomorrow, England's newspapers would be filled with the story. Silit approached Fang Jueyu, bending over slightly in her gown. Mr. Fang, my grandmother requests your company at the head table for dining. Next to them, Hilton and his friends shot envious glances. They desired the chance themselves. Even sitting with other royal family members was already prestigious. Sitting beside the Queen was an incredible honor. Isn't that inappropriate? Fang Jueyu hesitated. He had already been flashy enough in the morning, and although there were no reporters in sight who knew if a camera was quietly capturing this moment, he certainly didn't want to be thrust into the limelight. If you refuse, grandmother said she'll personally come to invite you, Princess Silit remarked angrily. Others would give anything for the opportunity, but here Fang Jueyu was, putting on airs. All right, I'll go. Fang Jueyu sighed, then said sincerely to Princess Silit, I bet you, once we're there, the Queen will find a way to suggest having you princesses become my little wives. Who want to be your little wife? Scoundrel, Princess Silit retorted playfully, casting a white eye at Fang Jueyu in mock annoyance before storming away. Fang Jueyu exchanged a look with Hilton and the others, then they all burst into hearty laughter. Sometimes, the joy and camaraderie among men were just that simple. Fang Jueyu didn't understand much about military or national affairs. He was just an ordinary guy who liked to surf the internet and play games. At the dining table of the England royal family, he talked about some internet memes popular in Huaxia, making the Queen and a group of princesses laugh until they shook. All good things must come to an end. Even though the Queen repeatedly urged Fang Jueyu to stay in England for a few more days, he had already scheduled a meeting with Wang Kong for the next day, so he had no choice but to bid farewell. Whether the Queen wanted to keep him around for personal reasons or hoped to marry off one of her granddaughters to him remained unknown. Mr. Fang, perhaps we'll meet again. The Queen was feeling unwell from overwork these past 2 days, so it was Princess Silit who saw Fang Jueyu off. She seemed like she wanted to say something but never did. Goodbye, Princess Silit. If you have the chance to visit Huaxia, I'll be sure to show you around, Fang Jueyu said with a smile. Fang Jueyu stepped into the cabin as the plane began taking off. If it weren't for planning to cheer for the ZZ team at the World Finals with Wang Kong, he would have rushed back to Huaxia already. Sister Zhuang Ying, how long until we reach Hanhuo City in the Kingdom of Saylat? About an hour and a half, I think, Zhuang Ying replied. That's not too long, Fang Jueyu said, glancing at Gogh. What about that guy named Jet? Oh, young master, I knocked him out and threw him in the bathroom. That works, just don't kill him. I need to send a gift to the king of the Kingdom of Saylat, Fang Jueyu laughed. You two should also rest. You've been running around with me these past few days and must be exhausted. I'm going in to video call Xinyu. With that, Fang Jueyu walked into the room. In England, it was early morning. In Huaxia, it was just afternoon. Even though he had been away from Huaxia for less than a week, Fang Jueyu already missed it a bit. Dean Fang, you finally remembered me. I thought you were having too much fun with those princesses in England to miss home. On opening the video call, Guo Xinyu's pouting face appeared on the screen. In the background was a practice room, showing how Guo Xinyu never slackened in her professional training. He, as if I would dare. Fang Jueyu quickly switched to a playful smile. I was just too busy recently, but as soon as I had time, I called you, didn't I? HMPH, you men can't be trusted at all. Guo Xinyu pretended to be angry. I bet you watched the game matches a few days ago. Well, I was busy with work too. Fang Jueyu chuckled awkwardly. But I swear I didn't fool around. The other day at the Queen's banquet, even though Hashimoto Kanako threw herself at me, I didn't do anything. Hashimoto Kanako, did you fly to the heavens too, coming right to your door, huh? You'll die if you don't brag. Guo Xinyu didn't believe him. Well, you could ask Guya to verify for me, Fang Jueyu said righteously. Miss Guo, I can vouch for the young master. Hashimoto Kanako did touch his thigh, but he didn't do anything wrong and even asked me to knock her out to send her away. Gu Yi suddenly appeared behind Fang Jueyu out of nowhere. Whoa, how are you back here again? Didn't young master ask me to help as a witness? Gu Yi replied with an aggrieved expression. Oh man, you're such a simpleton, aren't you? Fang Jueyu felt a bit frustrated. Gu Yi was good in every respect but a bit too straightforward. He didn't understand the concept of subtlety at all. Just get out, we're talking love here. Also, next time no need to give so many details. On the other end of the video, Guo Xinyu was laughing so hard she was making goose sounds. Fang Jueyu and Gu Yi could probably do a comedy routine together. When are you coming back? I miss you. Guo Xinyu showed a bit of a girly demeanor at this moment. Do you miss me or the hee-hee stuff? Fang Jueyu smirked mischievously, which was unusual for him. HMPH, you're such a rogue. Although Guo Xinyu and Fang Jueyu had opened the doors to a new world, she still felt a bit shy about this topic. She lightly bit her lip both. Oh geez, how could Fang Jueyu resist such temptation? Probably half a month tops. I'll head back right after watching the finals with Wang Kong. He calmed himself down. Now, he finally understood what it meant to be out of reach. Then I'll wait for you. Boom, boom. Just as they were getting into their chat, the plane suddenly shook violently as if hitting turbulence, and the onboard network equipment seemed to malfunction, losing its signal instantly. What's happening? Fang Jueyu rushed to the plane's lounge. The weather was great today, with no turbulence or clouds. Given Liu Chuangxing's piloting skills, this shouldn't have happened. Where's Gu Yi? Fang Jueyu glanced around and saw Gu Yi wasn't in the cabin. Young master, our plane is under attack. Gu Yi's voice echoed in Fang Jueyu's mind. What? How could this be? It's a Hurricane fighter jet. It's launching an attack on us. Several missiles had already hit Fang Jueyu's private plane. If it were an ordinary plane, it would have been destroyed by now. Luckily, Gu Yi was there, protecting the plane with his energy. However, at such a high altitude, the explosion's force still caused considerable shaking. Can you hold it? Fang Jueyu worriedly asked. Don't worry, young master. Missiles of this level can't harm me, but it's going to get rocky. No, this level of shaking can easily damage the plane's internal structure. As if affirming Fang Jueyu's words, the plane suddenly made strange noises. One engine stopped, and there were issues with the control system. Liu Chuangxing's cockpit was in chaos as he struggled to maintain the plane's balance. But this time, it was a power issue, and there wasn't much he could do. Xiao Yi, which country's fighter is the Hurricane? This was no accident or coincidence. It's the third-generation fighter of the Kingdom of Saylat. Again with this Kingdom of Saylat, Fang Jueyu squinted. Yena's is getting desperate, using such means against me. Gu Yi, find a place for the plane to land. Fang Jueyu felt a pang of distress. The plane still looked so new, and this was only the second time he used it, and it broke already. Whoever did this must pay 100-fold. Understood, young master. What is that? The pilot of the Hurricane fighter witnessed a scene he would never forget for a lifetime. Below the private plane that was about to crash, a figure appeared like Superman, enveloped in a flaming energy, slowly guiding the plane to a safe landing. Superpower users were state secrets, unknown even to regular soldiers. He thought maybe it was some kind of new weapon. The pilot immediately picked up the radio. The target has made a forced landing. Ground troops prepare to attack. Be cautious. The enemy might have new unmanned tech equipment. With the support of Gu Yi, the plane landed smoothly on a stretch of desert, sliding for hundreds of meters before coming to a stop. However, The violent friction caused by inertia made the interior of the plane a complete mess. Phew, it actually landed. Liu Chuangsheng released the control stick. He had once said that as long as the plane's engine wasn't broken, he could land it safely. Little did he know such a situation would actually come true today. He didn't realize it was all thanks to Gogh's efforts. Without him maintaining the plane's balance, no matter how skillful he was, the plane would have been doomed. Good God, they even sent out fighter jets. Fang Jueyu's expressionless calmness on his face reflected the immense anger in his heart. If not for Gogh, he would have been dead for sure. Are you all okay? We're all fine. Although the plane's interior was decorated luxuriously, safety was fully considered. They were all securely fastened in their seats and were unharmed, just a bit frightened. As long as everyone is okay. A mere private plane being damaged was of no concern to Fang Jueyu. It was just a matter of spending more money. However, every single crew member and pilot was invaluable and couldn't be trained just with money. Host, there's a small armed force approaching us with strong firepower. They should be the private troops under that Prince Yenas from the Salot Kingdom. Zhao reported. There are 2 fighter jets, 2 main battle tanks, 4 armored vehicles, and about 50 armed personnel. He must have secretly mobilized his family's royal guard, right? Fang Jueyu didn't believe that a prince's son had access to so many resources, which could carry out a small-scale military conflict. He must have known you have a powerful superpower user protecting you, so he's sparing no expense in trying to assassinate you here. That Prince Yenas really has a childish temperament, Fang Jueyu laughed. Over a trivial squabble, he even called out the armed forces. Haha, host, you're shameless. You were clearly the one insisting on that argument in the first place. I have a sense of national honor. What do you know? Fang Jueyu cursed. You all stay here, don't go out, I'll go check first, Fang Jueyu instructed. Okay, young master, be careful. Zhuang Ying knew a bit about Gogh's background. With his protection, unless the Salot Kingdom dropped a nuclear bomb, Fang Jueyu was absolutely safe. The cabin door opened. The exterior of the plane still emanated a scorching heat from the intense friction. Gogh, how's it going? Gogh appeared behind Fang Jueyu like a loyal guard. Except for the wind messing up his hair, he didn't have a speck of dust on him, just a slight smell of gunpowder. The other side probably ambushed here early on targeting us. Gogh asked, young master, should I take care of them directly? For Gogh, unless it was another expert trained by the Fang family, he didn't take them seriously. That would be no fun. Although Fang Jueyu hadn't seen Gogh confront a modern army, he had seen his father Fang Jueyu in action, giving him some idea. Although not as strong as Fang Jueyu, it would likely be a similar scene. Suddenly, Fang Jueyu thought of the sun god he recently modified. Didn't they say this car could shoot down planes? This was a great opportunity. No need for you to act, just protect the people inside the plane for me. I'll play with them. Fang Jueyu showed a crazy smile. No, young master, Miss Zhuang instructed me to protect you. The other side is, after all, a modern army. You haven't undergone potential development. How could you handle them? Gogh, we in Huaxia have a saying. Science and technology are the primary productive forces. I suggest you submit a party application and learn about our great ideology. Fang Jueyu said, I'm not as good at fighting as you are, but I have better equipment. The lower compartment of the plane was still extremely hot. Fang Jueyu wanted to open it, but it seemed there were some issues with the mechanism. Gogh, please open the door for me, haha. Gogh stepped forward, his hands like 2 sharp blades penetrating the steel outside the cabin door, tearing it apart like a piece of paper. Clang! The steel panel hit the ground, stirring up a cloud of sand. Gogh directly jumped into the cabin, effortlessly supporting a car weighing over a ton with one hand, and walked out. Let me show you my high-tech car. Fang Jueyu smiled at Gogh. While it was true that Gogh could fight, he might not have seen such an advanced car. Gogh didn't stop Fang Jueyu from his antics, knowing that if things went south, he could still protect Fang Jueyu. Target sighted, prepare to attack. About a kilometer away, several tanks and armored vehicles lined up, moving aggressively toward the plane's location. They received intel that the opponent was a dangerous person carrying prohibited items into the Salot Kingdom. What's that? The soldier in the tank noticed a black dot rapidly approaching at a speed of at least 300 kilometers per hour. At this speed, it would soon be directly in front of them. Spotted unknown target, should we engage? Prince Yena's orders, shoot any unidentified personnel on sight. The leader of the small unit gave the order. Yes, prepare to fire. The black dot didn't change direction. It was heading straight for them. The tank's cannon locked precisely on Fang Jueyu's sun god. Open fire. Boom! The entire desert seemed to tremble, with the shell trailing a fiery tongue directly toward the black dot. Electromagnetic light shield activated. Fang Jueyu's reaction speed was far from the speed of the shell, but Yi could accurately monitor every move of the opponent. In an instant, a blue light shield enveloped the entire vehicle. The shell struck the car precisely, but a shell that could level a building didn't even slow the car down. The black sun god emerged straight from the explosion's flames. Not far away, Gogh was about to act, but seeing that, he felt relieved immediately. The young master's methods truly are endless. How is this possible? The people inside the tank were dumbfounded seeing this unbelievable sight. The shell should have hit precisely. How could this be happening? Ha! Charge tornado. Fang Jueyu shouted excitedly inside the car. Yi, use the laser cannon to disable all those tanks and armored vehicles. Roger. Ka-ching! Two black cannons emerged from either side of the car's hood. The sun god stopped its high-speed advance, and after a brief charge, two high-temperature laser beams pierced through the thick armor of two tanks in front. Bring down those two targets in the sky for me too. No one could have imagined that a modern military unit equipped with formidable weapons would be utterly wiped out by a single car. So weak, Fang Jueyu looked at the remains scattered across the ground. I haven't even exerted myself and you've all fallen. Two third-generation fighter jets, two main battle tanks, and four armored vehicles filled with weapons were blown up in just a few minutes by a single sports car. A sports car equipped with such new concept weapons as laser cannons and particle cannons. Who would believe this if they heard it? This thing sure consumes a lot of energy. Fang Jueyu glanced at the energy panel, noticing that the vehicle had less than 10% energy remaining. This was probably the combat limit of the car. If the opponents brought more tanks and planes, he probably wouldn't be able to hold them off. Fang Jueyu stepped out of the car, and the soldiers of the kingdom of Selot, armed to the teeth, were looking at him as if they were seeing a monster. Although countless red laser dots scanned Fang Jueyu back and forth, he wasn't afraid at all. As long as he stayed within a meter of the vehicle, the electromagnetic light shield would protect him. Besides, Gogh was watching closely from a distance. Even if their numbers increased tenfold, they still couldn't harm him. Master, your car is really impressive. Gogh praised the performance of the car, amazed that even his own abilities might not be able to break through the electromagnetic light shield. Fang Jueyu possessed many other powers that he couldn't comprehend. Just average third in the world, he said, quite satisfied with the car's performance. Master, what should we do with the remaining people? Is there a way to erase their memories for me? After all, the power demonstrated just now was far beyond worldly comprehension. If people didn't know better, they'd think it was Huaxia unveiling some incredible new weapon. A trivial matter. Gouye's eyes suddenly became vacant, and then an invisible spiritual power wave spread from him, turning everyone's memory, except Fang Jueyu's, of those few minutes into chaotic fragments. All done, Master. Suddenly, those few soldiers looked at each other, showing confused expressions, as if something was missing from their memories. Master, should I knock them out? Yes, but go easy, don't kill them. After all, they were just following orders, so let's not make it hard for them. Understood, Master. Gogh dashed out like a shooting star, and the soldiers instantly collapsed to the ground as if they had lost consciousness. Sister Ying, you can come out now, everything's fine outside. Fang Jueyu shouted to the people in the plane. The aircraft definitely couldn't continue flying, but they couldn't stay in this godforsaken place either. Soon, Zhuang Ying, Liu Chuangsheng, and a few flight attendants descended from the plane using the emergency ladder, while Gogh carried the still unconscious jet down. What happened here? Looking at the devastation around them, Liu Chuangsheng, despite having seen many big events, was still stunned. The wreckage of fighter jets and tanks was still smoking. They couldn't imagine how just two people managed to destroy such massive war machines. Mr. Fang, the plane definitely can't fly anymore. We might have to call for international rescue. I think we should get in touch with the nearest country's embassy and have them assist us, Liu Chuangsheng suggested. No. These guys attacked us here and ruined my multi-million US dollar plane. I will definitely settle this account with them, Fang Jueyu said with a cold tone. Captain Liu, there's no need for you to worry about that. Just watch. In a moment the king of Selat will be eager to come and greet us, and he will definitely pay back with interest. But before that, I have to give them a little scare. Recently, William XVII, the king of the Kingdom of Selat, had been driven crazy by issues related to oil imports. Although the Kingdom of Selat still maintained a monarchy system, the modern state was no longer controlled by the royal family. Parliament had already applied significant pressure on the monarchy. If this matter couldn't be resolved, the king's prestige would suffer a serious blow, not to mention the terrifying loss of benefits. But until now, they still didn't know whom they had offended. While a doubling of oil prices could barely be tolerated, a quadrupling of prices would absolutely carve out a piece of flesh from them. Such a loss was something the entire country could not bear. Your Majesty, King Yinban of Saudi is requesting a call with you. Mr. Yinban, quickly. William XVII had tried to communicate with Yinban several times, but each time he was turned away. Although the Kingdom of Selat was far more powerful than the Kingdom of Saudi, they grasped the lifeline of energy. Even if they could win a fight, they couldn't afford to provoke them and could only swallow their frustration. Mr. Yinban, you're finally willing to see me. William XVII lowered his stance. Mr. Yinban, regarding the oil import issue, is there any room for negotiation? The price is really too high, and our parliamentary power cannot sustain it. Mr. William, I'm not here to discuss oil prices with you, but to tell you something. Fang Jueyu had already contacted the King of Saudi through high wire, intending to deal a heavy blow to Yenas. Please feel free to speak, Mr. Yinban. Mr. William, to be honest, our country is not the real decision-maker on the oil export price. That gentleman is currently in the Kingdom of Selat. In our country, William became immediately excited. Where is he? I'll go meet him at once. They are currently at the Nimler-Gobi sand stretch at the border of the Kingdom of Selat. I heard they were planning to watch an esports competition in the Kingdom of Selat, but were attacked on the way. Their plane was damaged and forced to land there. How is that possible? How come I haven't received any news like that? As the king, even though he didn't hold core power, he was still entitled to know about military actions. But as far as he knew, there hadn't been any significant military moves recently. I have no idea. Perhaps you should ask the Prince of Gel's family, the prince named Yenas, said Yinban. I just wanted to inform you of this. As for what to do next, it's up to Mr. William. After saying that, Yinban ended the call. Yenas, it's that Yenas again. In just a few days, William XVII had heard the name Yenas multiple times. Get the Prince of Gel over here for me. And also, quickly prepare a helicopter for me. I want to go to the Nimler-Gobi myself. Get me the best, biggest, and most spacious helicopter. A gritty sandstorm sprawled across the desert. The conditions were quite harsh. Although the airplane suffered significant damage, the interior was still intact. At least there was food and wine, so there was no need to suffer outside. They promptly returned to the airplane, savoring red wine while waiting for the Salot Kingdom to handle the situation. As for the unconscious soldiers, Fang Jueyu was merciful enough not to kill them. Letting them experience the wind and sun outside was fair punishment. Liu Captain, are we really sure we don't need to call for international rescue? Liu Chuangsheng was still a bit uneasy. I'm afraid there might be more attacks on us. I've heard Europe is especially chaotic lately. Maybe they attacked us thinking we're enemies. Liu Captain, rest assured. Soon the king will probably come to pick us up personally. Also, get your stomach ready. I bet we will have a big feast tonight. Fang Jueyu said confidently with a smile. It was shocking upon inquiry to find that the Salot Kingdom's oil, natural gas, and mineral resources were all imported from the Saudi Kingdom. Essentially, they held the lifeline of the country. The king of the Salot Kingdom was probably scrambling to come fetch them by now. Young master, there's a video call request at the location. Do you want to accept it? Although the airplane's network equipment was malfunctioning, they still had backup equipment. Accept it. I'm curious to see who it is. Fang Jueyu lay back on the sofa, exhibiting the demeanor of a carefree landowner's child. Beep. The video revealed an elderly man with a head full of white hair and even a white beard. His face was slightly pale, and he didn't look in good spirits. Judging from the background, it seemed like he was inside some sort of vehicle. Excuse me, are you Mr. Fang? William XVII asked cautiously. He originally thought the big shot Yinban mentioned was in his 60s or 70s, but he didn't expect a young man around 20. That's me. Fang Jueyu immediately guessed who the old man was, deliberately displaying a stern expression with a hint of anger. Mr. Fang, I'm William XVII, the king of the Salote Kingdom. I just received this news, and I believe we might have a misunderstanding. Misunderstanding? Fang Jueyu directly interrupted William. Mr. William, your Prince Yanes has repeatedly provoked me. This time, he even dispatched troops to attack me, and you're telling me this is a misunderstanding. My conflict with Prince Yanes was merely a small dispute. I'm quite forgiving. I only gave him a mild warning. To be honest, the profits you make from importing oil at double the price don't matter to me. What I want is an attitude. Fang Jueyu emphasized his tone, but your Prince Yanes went too far. Not only did he send assassins to kill me, but he even sought out a superpower user. What? He even resorted to using a superpower user. William was horrified. How could Yanes be so audacious? Even Yanes' father, Prince Jir, didn't have the qualification to directly use superpower users. Look, here's the muggle. Fang Jueyu pointed the video towards Jet, who lay on the ground like a dead dog. At that moment, William cursed Yanes countless times in his heart. Offending anyone else could be remedied, but tangling with an unpredictable man, respected even by Yinbin from the Saudi kingdom, was a grave mistake on Yanes' part. Mr. Fang, please calm down. I've already sent people to find Prince Jir. I'll have that bastard Yanes restrained immediately, William said with an apologetic smile. We'll come to escort you shortly. We can slowly negotiate the rest. We'll fully compensate for your losses, ensuring your satisfaction. I've already told your Prince Yanes, as long as you compensate for my emotional distress and publicly apologize, I can immediately revert your oil prices. Yet he still wanted to ambush me here, with fighter jets at that, leaving my airplane severely damaged, worth several billion USD. This, if William were a Huaxia person, he'd surely be muttering a curse internally. Considering your plane was shot down by jets and tanks, you're fine, but it sounds like you're prepping to milk this for all it's worth. Rest assured, Mr. Fang, we'll compensate for your losses at full price. At that moment, William could only admit defeat. We'll restrain Prince Yanes immediately. No way, Fang Jueyu was relentless. As the saying goes, it's easy to invite Budarin but hard to bid him out. Flying all the way to the Salote Empire to watch the games and being downed by fighter jets. Leaving just like that isn't so simple. Mr. William, it's not that I'm unreasonable. I came to the Salote Kingdom for an important business deal. This delay caused my partner to cancel our cooperation. What do you propose I do about these losses? Fang Jueyu shamelessly fabricated. It's our fault entirely. We'll provide a satisfactory explanation. William XVII agreed repeatedly. Did he dare refuse? He needed to do everything possible to please Fang Jueyu, quell his anger, or else their country's energy sector would be doomed. Moreover, your country's actions caused serious emotional trauma. Isn't it reasonable for me to demand some compensation for emotional distress? Of course, it's warranted. Mr. Fang must have been quite shaken today. Whatever compensation you require, just name it. The compensation I initially requested from Yanes was 2 billion euros. I won't gouge you. Let's say 5 billion euros, Fang Jueyu calculated. Although this vast sum wouldn't cripple the Salote Kingdom's king's foundation, it would practically clean out Prince Jir's entire family's assets. 5 billion euros. William XVII choked on this astronomical figure. Emotional distress compensation wasn't unheard of, but 5 billion was utterly unprecedented. Mr. Fang, isn't this a bit excessive? Mr. William, I nearly lost my life here. Do you mean to say my life isn't worth 5 billion euros? Fang Jueyu retorted unhappily, initially considering 10 billion euros, indicating he showed restraint. You can ask around. I once donated 30 billion RMB in Huaxia without batting an eye. Or are you suggesting, Mr. William, that your country wants not only oil but gas and mineral prices to increase too? Fang Jueyu's tone was laden with grievance and threats. Fine, 5 billion euros is 5 billion euros. Since it was Prince Jir's son who caused this, they should solve it themselves. Mr. Fang, please wait a moment. We'll come to pick you up shortly. Ah, darn. Just after the call, Fang Jueyu slapped his forehead. Why am I asking for money? I can hardly spend it all already, and now I have an extra 5 billion euros. Isn't this giving myself trouble? Oh, I'm having such a hard time. Sure, here is the translated text. A helicopter squadron landed in the Nimler Gobi on the border of the Salote Kingdom. The helicopter bore a very special red symbol, the unique totem of the royal family of the Salote Kingdom. Supported by several guards, King William XVII of Salote wobbled down the helicopter. His expression was a mix of anger and resignation. God knew why a jerk like that would appear in the royal family and cause such a huge trouble for them. How did this even happen? The captain of the king's personal guard scanned the area. The unconscious soldiers and the almost wrecked fighter jets, tanks, and armored vehicles all indicated that a very intense battle had occurred here. However, according to the information they received, Fang Jueyu and others were only aboard a passenger plane without any combat capabilities. How could they create such destruction? From the burn marks, it was obvious that this was caused by high-tech thermal weaponry. Your Majesty, should we go and take a look? The captain, an extraordinarily powerful SS-level superpower user, was far stronger than Jet. The entire Salote Kingdom had only one SSS-level superpower user, who served as the president's bodyguard. Go ahead, we must face it eventually, William sighed. As soon as they arrived at the Gobi, Gogh had already sensed it and opened the cabin door, waiting for their arrival. King William, my young master, has been expecting you. Gogh glanced at the guard captain. At that moment, the captain felt his body fill with lead. The other's superpower level was definitely far above his own. He knew clearly that this was Gogh's warning, reminding him not to do anything unnecessary. Mr. Fang, our king has arranged for a helicopter to come and take you to a suitable place to freshen up first, said an unfamiliar minister carefully beside the king. Dispatching a royal-specific helicopter, a privilege even the king of Salote Kingdom had not enjoyed, showed William XVII's extreme regard for Fang Jueyu. King William, where is Prince Yanez? I thought he would come too. Fang Jueyu felt a bit disappointed not seeing Yanez. Mr. Fang, that bastard Yanez was already arrested by his father, Prince Jir, and brought to the palace. Oh, quite prompt. That bastard, having privately mobilized the royal guard to attack you, has already severely violated our royal regulations and national laws. Prince Jir has revoked his title, and I have removed him from the royal family. He will be sent to a military court to face the punishment he deserves. Regarding the spiritual damage fee you requested, the sum is too enormous, even for our entire royal family to gather such cash, William said, looking troubled. We will compensate it with shares of fixed assets. How do you feel about that? A minister under William pulled out a list, detailing a part of the assets they planned to use in lieu of the spiritual damage fee. Most assets were from some enterprises under Prince Jir's name, while the rest were pooled together by other royal members. Altogether, they amounted to about 5 billion euros. William was indeed quite clever. Although the shares were not small, even if handed over to Fang Jueyu, the largest proportion of shares still remained in the hands of the royal family, allowing them to maintain the greatest say in those businesses. What they didn't know was that a considerable portion of shares in these businesses was already held by Fang Jueyu. With this addition, he would immediately become the largest shareholder, leaving William's careful calculations in vain. The severely damaged airplane would soon be handled by William. The private jet itself was worth just a few $100 million, but it was filled with valuable decorations and furnishings whose value far exceeded it. Furthermore, the airplane was only slightly damaged and still repairable. Coincidentally, the Salote Kingdom had a rather large aircraft assembly plant, mainly purchasing some raw materials with which this airplane could be quickly repaired. William directly took Fang Jueyu and the others to the palace of the Salote Kingdom and treated them as the most honored guests. Liu Chuangsheng and the cabin crew had never expected Fang Jueyu's words to be true, not only bringing the king of the Salote Kingdom personally to receive them, but also allowing them to enjoy a lavish banquet in the palace. Ha ha ha, Captain Liu, I told you, didn't I? This country cannot afford to mess with me. Mr. Fang's capabilities are truly impressive. At this moment, even Liu Chuangsheng couldn't help but acknowledge him. God knew how Fang Jueyu could make a nation's king bow to him with such respectful demeanor. Mr. Fang, I brought that bastard over. Half an hour later, King William returned, followed by a young man in shackles. When Yanez realized that even the army couldn't take down Fang Jueyu, he had already completely given up resisting. Privately mobilizing the royal guard warranted a military court trial. He could flee, but the life ahead would be miserable beyond belief. So he just surrendered, allowing his father, Prince Jir, to personally escort him to the palace. Yanez was filled with hatred, wishing to tear Fang Jueyu apart here in the Grand Hall. He had not only lost his princely title, but also forfeited his future, likely spending the rest of his days in prison. Prince Yanez, we meet again. Fang Jueyu approached him, ignoring his murderous gaze. I've given you many chances, but you failed to seize them, and each time you acted more foolishly. You know what happens to those who offend me? Fang Jueyu laughed. Some end up in jail, some fall into disgrace. The last person who crossed me is still rotting in a mental hospital as an idiot. Are you wondering why, just because of a woman, I'd utilize my resources to do such a thing? Yanas glared at Fang Jueyu. Indeed, merely a verbal exchange due to Princess Scylla had happened. Was it necessary to escalate it to such an extent? Listen carefully, Fang Jueyu said word by word. You can insult me, I'm not someone petty. A simple apology from you and I wouldn't pursue it. But you should never have insulted Huaxia, my country, or Huaxia people. I, Fang Jueyu, may have no other skills, but I have money. As long as money can solve it, it can never stump me. I will make everyone who disrespects us pay a terrible price.